Hey y'all, welcome to the Reality and Not podcast with your boy DJ Reality and your boy Brian Clincy from Nothing New Under the Sun. Hey Brian, how you doing today?
Man, I'm blessed and impressed with the life that God gave me.
All right, that's good to hear, man.
What about yourself, man?
I'm doing pretty good energy. It's Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to you.
Hey, man, thank you. I
And
appreciate it. Happy Uncle.
goddamn Uncle Daddy,
Yeah,
to all,
because
to all these niggas. But definitely appreciate that. Yeah, I got a call from Jay earlier today. Wasn't able to get in. Wasn't able to get him because he got disconnected. But I don't know. I think I told you, but he locked up. So he called me
yeah,
to say Happy
but,
Father's Day and all that stuff. So
but let's not forget about Tone, man. Like Tone, you was there for Tone too.
yeah,
So like,
mm-hmm.
yeah, and that was when we was younger. So like it's a beautiful day when even the community come involved and become like, and I tell people this all the time because back like in Muskegon, like I come from a single parent home.
Mm-hmm.
So ladies, please stop telling women Happy Father's Day because they're doing both jobs.
Yeah, no, that shit whack.
It's just like a professional. You like just like your job at work. You might be like a nurse's aide doing the nurse's aide and the custodial job, but they only pay you for one. You know what I'm saying? Just relax, take your credit on your day, and then change the situation. Give like that bothers me because it's like
It's different roles. It's like no, you're just gonna. It's like asking me to do one thing and that I'm I mean, I always say be great at what you are great at. I mean, it wasn't as if I could, like, one example I can say, if as a kid, right, I feel like the father's role is to get your kids involved in sports and stuff like that, or teach them how to throw a ball, or how to play basketball and stuff like that. We didn't have that, but at the same time we had ways to get that, but accentuate what you can be great at as far as the caring part and growing your son into a man, or growing your daughter into a woman, and helping them understand that part of it. We don't ask you, there's always going to be somebody there to fill the role, and I never been of the like that I had to have that figure in the house. Now it would have been great to have that, because like I said, that's where I feel like branching off from fatherhood to mentorship type of shit, where I would have seeked that out. But for me, I seeked out how to do it myself, so that part of it is within me. So if you look at, even my nieces and nephews and all that stuff, they all got families, they all got kids and stuff like that. So, and they're all, nobody's, divorced or anything like that, but then, you look at my level, everyone is divorced, and then you look at the even higher level than me, or a hierarchy above me, everybody is divorced as far as uncles and aunts and all that stuff, or they're just not here. So,
but the other part of what you just said makes more sense to me. Like, shout out to people that actually do that work and like in the absence of, right? Mm-hmm. So like you said, I didn't have a dad in the house, but I had people that would look out for me. Like, and I tell people all the time, my neighbors was probably like everything that I needed, because they helped me become the person that I am. And shout out to Buck, who was my grandmother's husband. Shout out to my neighbors, Mr. Brown and Oscar Pruitt. Shout out to like even the people on my paper route that seen me and was like, "Yo, you doing something? Like, I support you," that type of thing. Like the dude, Mr. Copeland from around the corner on Myrtle. He's taught me how to. He kept seeing me pull. My bike was on the flat every day, so he was like, "Yo, why you don't just patch it?" I'm like, "Patch it? I don't know what that is, right?" You know what I'm saying? And I think about the stuff that you do with your sons or whatever. And he said, "Look, let me show you something." He got out the patch. He had fire. You know what I'm saying? Burnt the patch on. Had the glue, or scratched it off, or put it in water. And I was like, "Dang, I didn't even know this type of stuff worked." I mean, I don't know how this stuff type work, but like, shout out to all those surrogate fathers that's out there in the community, those uncles that come and get the nephews, and nieces. Yeah, just shout out them, because it's after taking credit for everything when you getting help. You know what I'm saying? It's like those people that I'm independent, but
Mm-hmm.
you're on welfare, you're on Section 8.
Mm-hmm.
Like that ain't independence. That's you depending on the government
Yeah.
when somebody else could
They
have been
take
there.
that away. Now what you gonna do?
Yeah, yeah. So please, people, like understand the situation and assess your situation, and then make moves to make it better, right? But
Mm-hmm.
stop calling women and being like, "Yo, happy Father's Day for the job for you doing both jobs." They get support. Hopefully, they can support. If they're not getting support, you got the mother job. Do it to your best ability. Being a mother is finding the support that you need for your sons and daughters. So.
No, and that's dope. And you that's a great point. I was gonna say something to that point that a mother is resourceful in making sure that all of their kids' needs are met. Like I would never ever wanted. I never ever. I mean, of course, I wanted more, but that's more so kind of a tangible thing, not more so of a need thing. So of course, I would have loved to have used jeans or I don't know, Jabodes or fucking I don't know. I ended up getting Jordans, but that wasn't a thing, starting out. And then even still, I had to figure out ways to make those things happen, but those weren't things that I needed. But they made sure that I had clothes, made sure I was around my family, made sure that I had that attention, and like I said, I was a quiet kid, I mean, I ended up breaking out of that, but I was always kind of to myself in a sense, or if I was around people, it was a very small amount of people that I was around, and I still feel like I have that in me a little bit, like I can still socialize and be around people, but at the same time I'm looking at the clock trying to figure out what time I'm leaving. So it's just always a unique experience for your parents or your father, your mother to help you to even socialize yourself, at least within family, or at least to have that ability to grow up as a kid or as a person in general. So.
Right, right, and then shout out to Muskegon for teaching me those ropes and teaching you those ropes too. Because,
Mhm.
like I said, we learned on the basketball court
Mhm.
how to play, but we ain't had nobody pushing us, so we went to the basketball court and wanted to play. We only had one rim, you know what I'm saying? At our part, we only had one rim, and when the grown people came, we wanted to stay on court. So those grown people made sure that we could play if we wanted to play with them. So again, finding that support when we needed that support. I mean, you talked about St. Joseph, and like I think about how that was some support in my life because I can always go there and fellowship with kids, some from my neighborhood, some not from my neighborhood. Learn to play foursquare. Like
Mhm.
was able to. My community uh, had me had me had me had their hands around me. So like shout
Mhm.
out Muskegon, shout out Nelson Neighborhood, shout
Mhm.
out all those people in my life that made me a good father, that made me a good person, and that uh showed me showed me things that really helped me throughout my life.
Now, you bring up a good point. Think about it now with St. Joseph. St. Joseph was a lunch program that was within Muskegon. I don't know if it was, targeting, not underprivileged, targeting low income families or anything like that, but it wasn't it wasn't above us or below us to, like I said, I mean, honestly, if you think about it, like we got up in the morning or whatever time that Saint, and I think they were starting to serve breakfast anyway, but we got up in the morning, and then whether we got on our bikes, whether we did whatever, it was like, okay, let's go over here. We didn't, like, mom, or your parents or your moms or anything like that didn't have to worry about how he was eating throughout the day. Like it
Right,
wasn't
right.
it wasn't like we were in it, 'cause, it was the whole idea that you can't go in and out the house, and so if you're going out, you stay out. You come in, you staying in. So it wasn't like that. It wasn't like growing up, like we was out and we was we grew up like we were outside for until 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night. We didn't have
very different situations than what we have now, right? We got people getting tracked by their phone location and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We ain't had none of that. It was just
drinking water out of the damn faucet
Water.
outside, like out of the hose. We didn't have filtered water back in the day. It was just whatever was available. So
yeah, and I think it was a certain comfort. I think that's why they used to be like Muskegon was a good place to raise your children, because we could go outside and be a kid and not have to worry about I don't know what they have to worry about now, because they act like kids can't walk to school, walk on the sidewalk.
I was walking. Nigga, we had like 4, 5 years old walking to Craig. Like it was like I don't remember. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it was a safer time, but I don't remember like being walked to. I knew what Craig was.
Safer time, like what? Like it wasn't no
like you getting snatched up or anything like that. Like, I mean, I couldn't imagine. Like, I got 2 great nephews that's 6 years old. I couldn't imagine them 2 walking to school by themselves.
Why not? See, that's what's crazy to me, because what was good for us, they like, yo, we need to protect.
I'm not saying they wouldn't do it. I'm not saying that they can't do it. I'm saying their parents aren't going to let them do it. Us growing, it was like, well, shoot, I think my mom had to be at work at 6 o'clock at the prison or whatever. So then it was like Tina and Tammy, they was heading to Nelson. I was heading to Craig, which was, they're not that far off, but I wasn't walking with them. I say that. Right. They was walking this way, and I was walking this way up. What's that street? Is that Park
Street? Park.
Yeah. So I'm walking up Park. They walking. Shit, that's in our Nelson's in my backyard, and it's right across the street from you. So it wasn't like they were walking like tremendously far. It wasn't like Craig was that far, but at the same time,
it was basically down our block and then 4 blocks up, right? But what's crazy is that people feel like it's not safe for their kids to walk that far. Like I was just in Atlanta yesterday and the day before, right? And it's crazy that people can't cross the street without the little thing telling them so, right? And I'm like, yo, I don't care what that thing say. If I can make it, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I learned that as a child. Don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? But
well, I mean, I'm gonna look both ways. I'm not just gonna be. I mean, it's almost. I don't know if you watched The Office. It was an episode within The Office, and he was paying attention to the navigator, and it was him and this guy, Michael Scott and Dwight. I forgot Dwight Schrute. They were riding in the car together, and the navigator said, "Turn right." So he was like, "Okay, I got to turn right," and Dwight was like, "Well, no, you can't turn right. It's not a street yet." But he was paying attention to the navigator so much, he turned right and ended up in a water, like in a lake or a river or something like that. Just because he was following the directions of the navigator versus like seeing, like paying attention to the environment. Where, I mean, even though it's telling you to turn right, it may be telling you to turn right in 0.2 in 0.2 miles rather than turning right immediately. So, but yeah, we are in a society now that, not to say that you have to follow, not that all directions have to be followed or anything like that, but we don't understand how to do things without being told how to do those things. Like if you give me something, it just depends on at the level of what it is. But if you give me something to figure out, I'll figure it out. Like say when you give me something without instructions, right? I know how to, even with the tools that we have, like, hey, YouTube, how to figure it out, or Google, how to figure this out, or I'll play around with it. And if it's something that I can figure out directly, then that's cool too. But I feel like sometimes, and this shit annoys the fuck out of me. And I'm gonna send you this link. There's a link. I think it's how to Google that.com or something like that. But and it's it feels assholish when I send it to people, but at the same time, I don't care. Is that I'll send them that link. I'll put what they said in the Google space for it. So then what it does, so when you open it up, it'll show what you asked, then it'll drag it, it'll show an arrow, click Google, and then it'll send you the response from Google to say this is what you're asking. It's like, don't ask me questions on things that are Googleable. Like
Well, see, let's go back to the previous podcast when we talk about being in the box and being out the box, right?
mm-hmm.
So, like, these are suggestions; they're not necessarily rules, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to understand that certain people do things out of tradition versus out of a thought. That's why Uber was a big idea. It was like, oh shoot, I can do it on my phone.
Mm-hmm.
It's I need a ride. I need a ride now. You know what I'm saying? So when you put yourself in a box and say, hey, look, this is how they say to do it. That's how to do it, and you don't challenge the whys. Like, I wish public school would start going back to, like, hey, ask me why. You know what I'm saying? Because
I don't like whys, but just FYI.
but you ask yourself why all the time.
No, yeah. I'm saying I'll ask my own self why, but I don't like other people asking me why and not researching other options or other ways to do it. Now, you should ask yourself that, but it's like, well, I'll tell you, like you say, hey, you asked me a question like, what's the best way to make money? I can only tell you the way that I know how to make money.
Exposed to. Yeah.
But you can look up like, oh, well, he's a product manager, or he works within Salesforce. Oh, how much money does somebody within Salesforce make? That's a Googleable answer. I mean, you can find that answer. You can find a ChatGPT. I mean, I can definitely give you the personal experience. But then again, as Black folks, we don't like to talk about our money. We don't like to talk about our income, which I think is a problem too. But all that being said, that because you don't want everybody in your pocket. Because I remember one time it was something as simple as like I posted, it was something I was talking about. Maybe it was like cologne, and it was like, oh, you big bucks. I was like, no, that's
that
nice cologne.
Is that shade?
It feels like it.
It feels like that passive aggressiveness, right?
Yeah, it feels like you count my money.
See, I think that's the passive aggressive must be nice, but like, let's dial that back into it, because, like, I get that, right? And that's one of the reasons why I move in silence, right? Mm-hmm. One of the topics, right? Mm-hmm. One of the reasons why I would never post my car, because people be acting like, hey, you got money because you got this car, right? Not necessarily like y'all don't be superficial, people. Like, I see people.
Why do we have to move in silence, though? That's the thing that bothers me. It's like, why can't I show off my stuff? And it's not even showing off. It's like, I had an old manager, and he was a cool dude, and he was my mentor. Only Black male mentor I've ever had. And I was talking, like, because he had a Corvette, and he had a Trailblazer. The Trailblazers from, like, I don't know, when I was working with him, that was like 2011. He had a Trailblazer from like 2002 or 2001, but then he had this Corvette that he restored that was like from 1968 and 1967. He told me, like, if you ever, get a new car, blah, 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 drive your old car to work, because people are watching. And I'm like, I get it, but at the same time, I don't care that they're watching me at this point. It's like, I want, not to say I want to stunt on them, but I want to show the value of the things that I've earned or I was able to get across. I remember, like, one of my most recent managers, I was talking to him, and I was in his office, and he had a Corvette frame in his office. But he had a Porsche. He had a Porsche 911. And I rode in this car. We done lunches and stuff like that. I rode in this car, and I was like, why do you have the Corvette on here, but you have a Porsche? He's like, I have a Corvette too. I was like, oh, okay. So it's like, it's sometimes it's okay for, not to say white or whatever, to be able to portray these things or to have these nice things, but for us, it's looked at as you think you're better than me, or you're trying to show your things off. And it's like, well, showing your wealth can only either, I don't want to generate envy or what's the word that they use in the Bible? Covet. I don't want you to covet anything that I have, but I want you to try to achieve the things that I do have if that works for you. Like if I have a Corvette, you're like, well, how did you get this Corvette? I got it because I got money. Like like it ain't no other way I got it. I got it based off of success, and that shows my success that he can afford this and still be able to live and not, be within the trenches.
Okay, so the other side of that, right? And I just give you my experience, right? Uh, I drove my car to one of my jobs, right? And there was like, I was like, yo, this is a really nice car, and I was so again. The
That's some
expectation is what?
bullshit. I know
The
it's a nice
expectation
ass
is what?
car, bitch.
Yeah, the expectation is what, right? But then it was like, so you got this, and you got a house in Michigan and in Florida. I was like, yeah. I was like, so, and this is the only job you have. I said, yeah, I got certain investments and stuff, right? And so talking about that, it was like, oh wow, so you don't really need to work here. And I was like,
no, I do. It's income, bitch. What the fuck is wrong with you?
But this is not even my people. You know what I'm saying? These are people, co-workers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
look,
they're like, yo, he got this, and he got this.
Carlton was right. I'm not saying that he wasn't right. People watch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now the good part about when your folks watch you, it kind of annoys you. Just because it's like I feel like you count my money, but in the other end, it's like it feels as if it can have an impact on, does he need this job and things of that nature. And I feel like sometimes we feel or that jobs can be determined based off of like, I don't need any job, but people feel like you have to need it in order to do the job. And it's like, well, no, I can be great at doing my job, but that doesn't mean that I need it. And that's the part that, bothers me from like one group looking at me versus like my group around me. Like, and honestly, like,
go ahead. I'm gonna bring it back to success, right? So success is not the car that I drive, right? I wanted this car because the car is rare, and like it's more rare than it is expensive, right? But it's a it was something that I desired and I wanted to have, right? So with that being said, I wanted people. I'm not saying that. Like when you out here, you working hard, you good at rewarding yourself. But then when you got hungry people, and it's not no fault of your own or whatever, they thinking you don't need your money. Like I rent houses, right? Some people be like, yo, he got this, that. He don't need the money. And so,
but why are they worried about what you got though? Like if I talk to you, and like, I feel like that's pocket watching as well. But if I'm talking to you, and you can make 50,000, you can make 100,000, you can make 200, 500,000, how much ever you make. But I feel like you're delving deep, like it ain't none of your business. Well, like if you have a car, right? Say when you have a car. Say your car payment, like that. This is what I'm saying. Like you get into, like they're getting into the weeds. It's like, okay, you have a nice car. Now it's like, well, how does he have a nice car? It's like, so I'll give you a prime example, right? So that Carlton, who I worked with, his manager. So when I got my job offer from this company, and I didn't know how to negotiate at the time. This is like 2011. When I got the job offer, and mind you, I have an MBA, or I have a master's degree, I have computer science degree, I have the experience that they're asking for, and the guy, when he, like I said, his manager, he was a plant manager at the time, he was like, it's like, how much did they offer you? And I'm thinking like, why is he in my pockets? What is he's a plant manager making $130,000 a year at that time. Because I looked up his shit because he asked about mine. And I was like, they offered me 68,000. He's like, oh damn, they offered you that much? You know, and I'm thinking like 68,000. And mind you, like, you know, not fresh out of grad school. Hell, I was like 2 years removed. But like he was worried about how much I was making, but yet I wasn't even considered to even work at that facility. Like the job that I got offered was a job that I interviewed for within the company in a whole different, like it wasn't within their facility or within their scope of having me to work for them. So like, why would you worry about how much money I'm making?
Well, Sean, I'm gonna tell you like this, right? And you prove my point. Mm-hmm. When you start showing up and you start you start having these little trinkets, or when you start showing the stuff that you have, it leads to more questions, right?
They ask me shit about my motherfucking shoes, nigga. Like, I'm like, right, damn, nigga, right. I can't wear nice shoes. I'm like, nigga, it ain't like I'm showing up with motherfucking 30s on motherfucking Porsche and shit like that, or even like it's me showing up with motherfucking Jordan 3s and shit, and motherfuckers like, damn, like I'm talking about like as of last year, it's like, damn, I don't even know why he even wear those to work. I'm like, they're fucking like they're Jordans. It's like it's not like I'm out here baling hay or picking cotton and shit. Like I'm literally just standing in meetings and sitting at my desk.
Again, though, like this is and this is why I really think I do it because of what this one drug dealer told me, right? And I didn't totally understand the concept until I started getting pulled over for having rims and tinted windows and stuff like that, right? He was like, look, the more questions people ask, the more they want to get into your business. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So the reason why I don't flex is because I want to answer questions that I don't feel like I should have to. So
I just become more of an asshole, or just an asshole in general. Like fuck, like I don't want to answer. This okay. I'll let you go into it, but this is one thing I learned from like people being famous and stuff like that. You fuck up when you answer a question that you're not comfortable with. And that's like you can literally say, no comment. Why are you asking me about this? That's a question that I don't feel comfortable with responding to. And, like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be an asshole response. But at the same time, it's like I ask people like, hey, look, what's my middle name? Nigga, like if you can't tell me my middle name, I don't have to answer any of your questions because you don't know me that well. Like that's just how I like equated to it. It's like, well, no, you may not even know my last name, but it's just like even when people are like, hey, who are you dating? Why do you care who I'm dating if it's either you're just being nosy or you're trying to figure out how you can date me or how you can do something with me? It's like, no, tell me your intentions before you ask me a question. I don't like people asking me a question and I don't know your intentions behind it. I just won't fuck with the question. It's like why am I answering you? It's like sometimes with people like they ask these questions now you move like intentions and they're not telling you. So
when somebody asks you that, you move like a real quick, and so that's what like why you need to know. That's my first most of the time when people ask me, like, yo, why you need to know that?
But people consider that being an asshole though. And it is not. It's like, listen, sometimes people ask questions. I feel like people ask questions that they are not comfortable with answering themselves. So if you ask me that, and it's just like, I'll ask you, if you ask me a question, most likely, naturally, me personally, I'm going to turn around and ask you that question back. And if you don't answer the question with the same energy and forthcoming, like everything that's coming from me, then I'm not talking to you. You are a pointless conversation piece. Like if you ask me something as simple as, how you doing? And I'm like, oh, it's like you say blessed. Like I'm like, okay, I'm good, man. I'm, Dylan, blah blah blah, family, blah blah blah. And then you turn around and I'm gonna ask you the same question, like, well, how's everything going with you? Be like, good. I'm like, okay, I don't need to talk to you because like you want to ask a question a certain way and get this response, and then I'm not getting the response I want to get from you. So then I feel like this is a fruitless conversation. Let's just end it here.
Again, let's talk about success, right? So most of the time, people asking you questions is about learning about, want to know how were you successful? How did you do this? How do you do that? And so when people ask me the question like, yo, how you start your own business or whatnot, and like so being in Atlanta, like I know people fantasize, be like, yo, because they ask me, who I'm here with, and I'm like, I'm here by myself. And it was like, so what company? And I'm like, well, I don't have no job. I work for myself. And like, oh, that must be nice. No, it's not always nice. You know what I'm saying? It's good. Don't get me wrong. It's good that I have that opportunity to, but like, what I don't want to do is I don't want to like, when people say entrepreneur and then you want to ask me all the questions about being an entrepreneur, the real life subject of it is that being an entrepreneur is hard. That's why, like, being a good entrepreneur is hard.
But nigga, you ain't on a panel though. It's like, nigga, like that's all I'm saying. It's like if you so when I'm gonna ask a question, I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna ask specifically about your success. I'm gonna ask things like, what do you consider being successful? Like I don't understand. Like,
well,
I can tell you, oh shit, well, I was fucking broke as fuck, and I just, I started DJing. I didn't like the DJs at motherfucking Michigan State, so I started DJing on my own and started doing my own shit. Well, I didn't, not to say I didn't like the DJs, but I didn't like the music that they was playing at the time. So I was like, well, let me do my own shit. But at the same time, that's not what made me successful. What made me successful is sticking with it, figuring out my lane, figuring out how I can be dope with this. That's an internal thing. Like that's evaluating yourself on how to make yourself better.
For some people, that's the second question, right? Because I feel like a lot of people ask me that thinking that owning a business is successful. A lot of people own a business.
A lot of people are terrible at business. A lot of people are terrible at business. They do the same, but the thing is, it's like no idea is original. Where they end up doing the same damn thing somebody else doing. Like I know so many people that was like, well, you DJ, so let me try to DJ, and then they buy the shit, and then they fucking done with it within a year or 6 months because they ain't making no money. I was like, yo, it was 3 years before I got, well, no, that's a lie. I got paid one time in 1996. This is before I bought my equipment. I got paid one time in 1996. And the way that they paid me, they gave me $60 and they gave me all the beer that I can drink. I don't drink beer. So all I got was $60. So it was like, and like I said, and I needed the $60 to damn near go to get on the Greyhound to go back to Muskegon back then. So I had to get my $60 that night. And then I jumped. That was the first time I've ever got paid to DJ. The next time I ever got paid to DJ was 3 years later for the Qs in 1999/2000. And I want to say they paid me $100. And then I had to pay $40 for like a damn, like my mixer power supply broke. So then I had to pay $100. I mean, I paid $100. I had to spend $40 to be able to DJ the event. So I only made $60. From 1997 to 2000, I got paid a total of $120.
Shantae, that's crazy because, like, I used to DJ when we was in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
$75 a night. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But again, got all that equipment. I got to buy records. I probably spent, because I was really
nigga, I was in debt. Buying records. I was flying places. I was ordering my shit from New York. I was driving to Detroit. I was and mind you, throughout that whole thing, I wasn't making no money. So this is all money being spent out of my pocket, financial loans or financial aid and stuff like that. It wasn't no. I didn't have a DJ credit card or anything like that. Right. Or a line of credit. Like, no, I was spending out my pocket trying to make sure this shit pop. And if you ain't got that one song, they're gonna be like, nigga, like you whack. So
yeah, and again, it wasn't like records was everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like you couldn't get them everywhere. Like, and it was not the internet, so it's not like you could order them over the internet.
yep.
I had to hustle. I would volunteer at the radio station. Be
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, y'all got 2 copies of these? Can I have one? You know, like shoot, it's a grind mix. But like once you get out there, and like you said, like I probably wouldn't have like buying the equipment. Like I bought my first mixing board from a Radio Shack,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and like having the equipment and then cutting hair. Like, and so in high school, I felt like I made more money than I did when I was an adult, right? Because I was like, yo, I cut hair on Saturdays, DJ on Friday night and Saturday night, and
Mm-hmm.
then I sell candy, right? All
Mm-hmm.
that to pay a car note.
But listen, look what your grind, and this is what your grind of what your success got you, right? It taught you like how to do things. Like I said, I mean, one thing I learned, I give you a prime example, nigga. This is some of the wackest shit ever. So I went. This is when I was living in Texas. I went to the radio station, and I was calling up there because I was like I wanted to work in radio. I wanted like DJ and stuff like that. I called the radio station. I was like, hey, I just want to come up and see if y'all need an intern and all this stuff. Man, these niggas, they finally let me come through. I go up there. These niggas give me, this is 93. Yeah, 93, 94. These niggas gave me a motherfucking NKOTB tape. They showed me around one in new Kids on the Block, NKOTB in 93. That shit wasn't what was up. These niggas gave me a fucking New Kids on the Block tape in 1990 or a 1993 release, New Kids on the Block tape, and showed me around like one part of the studio and then just sent my ass home. And I was like, this is whack as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the, but I'm saying, like, for me still wanting to do that, I was like, okay, I ain't gonna do it. Not necessarily that way, but that shit just rubbed me the wrong way as a kid. I'm like, yo, like I just want to help. You know what I'm saying? So even fast forward when I moved to New York, or when I was in New York for the summer, I did an internship at D&D Studios. I called them up. I was like, hey, y'all need an intern, blah, blah, blah. And mind you, D&D Studios was big at the time with, artists like Jay-Z, Rakim, DJ Premier mainly worked out of there. Black Moon, all of these different rappers, even Biggie, people were working out of there. So I was like, well, I want to, be a part of the music thing. So then I was doing 36 hours a week free out of there, like 9 hours a day, 4 hours, 4 days a week, just in the studio with all of these artists recording music and stuff like that. I wasn't getting paid. I'm in New York, but I had to learn that. I was like, okay, well, I can't do no free internship no more. So
Yeah.
then after that, I ended up doing my co-op in Connecticut. I'm just saying, like, all of these learning experiences have built me to, where I'm tried and true and trying to figure out, like, and this is where I feel like success is, right? Success for me is not necessarily failing, but understanding what's going to make you that much better for your next experience. I knew that. I mentioned this before, but my goal was to make $38,000 a year, and then I realized that wasn't shit. And 38,000 did nothing. Like 38,000, I was getting in deeper debt than what I started out with. It was almost like I was better off just not to say I leaned on the system, but shit, I wouldn't have been able to stay nowhere if I didn't make anything. But all that being said, I feel like success is learning what you're dope at and then being able to build off of that. And a lot of people fail or not fail, they quit rather than trying to figure out what's the next steps or they expect things to come to them pretty quickly. As I said with the DJing thing, people were like, oh, well, shoot, I can get, some mixing equipment and now I'm a DJ. It was like, well, yeah, you could, but it controlling the party or controlling the environment versus just like being an iPod or just playing music, it's a whole different thing. Like it's a whole,
Right.
like controlling the space is where it comes with DJing. And that's from nigga. I done played, not to say I played some whack music, but I done played songs where the crowd leaves the floor. I'm like, okay, can't play that no more. Let's play something different. And then, that comes from, like with DJing over time and practice and getting people into my vibe. Like I said, like if I play, I don't know, something as simple as Cupid Shuffle, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be for the middle age to the higher age people doing that hustle. If I play, boots to the ground or like that, that's gonna be some of the newer, or Tamia. Like Tamia, can't nobody do the Tamia hustle. I have to teach Tamia hustle every single fucking time I'm playing that song. Because it's just not an easier one. So I'm gonna have less people doing that. So it's just understanding, the environment and what you're building for your success.
Again, I think what you showing is, especially like DJing, and the people don't understand how hard DJing is if you're not consistent and not, because sometimes you got to play whack music, right?
Yeah.
There's music that you thought like, yo, this sucks. I remember playing.
Listen, I did not. The reason why I started DJing was because all I heard was the sucky music, and then I ended up playing some of, or if not all of, the sucky music. That's why to this day I will not play Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It, and Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac. I hate those fucking songs, and I still don't play them to this day. But I don't have to play them. But I don't play those fucking songs.
Those were top hits in 1995. We got that reunion. So like,
to this day, I don't play. Like if I can get away with, look, now don't get me wrong, I'll play them. I got them ready to go and queued up if I ever got to play them. But it's just like if I can avoid them, I don't play those songs at all because I had to play those songs all the fucking time. Is what I'm saying. So
yeah, because people come up and request the dumb stuff, but you like, dog, you like this song? Yeah. Like, and some of the newer stuff, like, I just can't get into it. So I salute you because that's a hard job.
No, but look at it like this. Like, here, I'll give you a prime example, right? So I remember one time, and this is some of the dumbest shit I've ever participated or known about. I'm not gonna say the chick name, but I thought this is some of the dumbest shit ever. This chick. And this is in 2004. This chick
participated or knew about.
Yeah, right. So her dumb ass came up to me. I'm in the middle of the party in the club. This is like Yin Yang Twins, Lil Jon, Pitbull, reggaeton, all that era and shit. And this chick came up to me. And mind you, I had just got I went to Detroit. I always grab records before I'm about to DJ or grab new records and see what's out, what's not out, So I grabbed some records. And this record so happened to be within like one of the records. So the chick comes up to me and she asked me to play Ordinary People, John Legend in the middle of the club. And I'm like, but I hadn't heard it yet because, I just hadn't gotten to it yet. Plus I had it on record. So I was like, well, let me put it in my headphones, see what it sounds like. And I'm listening. I'm like,
she gonna get you booed out of there. She gonna get you booed out.
Get me the fuck up. I will never get an opportunity ever again to DJ for any of those people. Not even just that venue, but any of those. Like if somebody heard me, because most of the time, like it's word of mouth for me within DJing. So somebody be like, "Oh, I got a wedding, or I got this coming up, or blah blah blah," and I give them my card. Nobody would have asked me for my card if I had to play Ordinary People in that bitch.
That's not even a soul dance one. Like,
no, it's not even a bop. It's not. It's no vibe to that song. Like that song.
Yeah, it's like
song,
okay.
That song is I'm in my feelings. Life is hectic. It's not even towards women, towards men, or whatever. It's just literally just a song. We are just ordinary people.
Yeah. And so, because as a DJ, you say, "Hey, we about to slow it down." Because I'm thinking about when I did it at the skate ring. We about to slow it down and play one for the lovers, and and just knock it down. But that ain't for the lovers.
That song ain't that.
Yeah.
That song is not that.
Yeah, that ain't that.
On no level would I ever play that song in a venue or an event. Honestly,
that's background music.
Right, listen, and like I said, I bought it strictly off of because I fucked with John Legend with Kanye, but I literally bought it because of I was like, okay, John Legend got a song out. Let me go ahead and get it. I didn't buy the record based off of me hearing it. So
John Legend is from Detroit. Well, no, he's from Ohio, right?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania? Okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was like that sound or something like
that. He went to he's either I always get him mixed up, but I think we went to University of Pennsylvania or Penn State, one of the two. but he was I don't know if you noticed, but he had played keys on what's the Lauryn Hill song? It was one of her singles. I can't remember, but he played the keys on there. Like she actually pulled him like from there and had him like they were looking for a keyboard player, and they had him play the keys on that song, whatever. Everything's everything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he played the keys on that.
I can hear it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I can hear it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just one of them things. Like for that successful part, I really chose to not hit her at the time and not play that song, because it's like you literally about to get me, because don't get me wrong, I'll get some songs. I remember what's the name of the Twistle, or I can't remember the name of it. It's some recent song that was like slow as fuck that this 8-year-old asked me to play like 2 years ago. I was DJing the event, actually like last year, and I was DJing the event. Is your body? I can't remember the name of the song, but the song was
that Caribbean. I mean, it's African dude.
It starts with a T. And and I downloaded it and all that stuff. We in the download age versus me carrying around the records anymore. But man, I was like, yo, I can't. I listened to it and I'm playing all of this stuff that's getting people going.
That's so. I know
your body. I can't think of the name of it, but I remember playing. Like I listened to my headphones. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not playing that song.
Yeah.
Should have beat her ass too. Like the fuck is wrong with her? Yeah. Like asking me to play this song in the middle of a party and shit. But I digress.